Hey guys, this is Will Roundtree, your FICO certified credit specialist, credit mastery instructor for the J. Morrison Academy, author of 2 books, Credit is King, as well as Full-Time CEO, The Shit They Don't Tell You. But more importantly, I want to take you on this journey about financial literacy, the importance of credit, how to understand credit, and how to get to that money. Let's go. Hey guys, Will Roundtree here, 2-time author of the books, Credit is King and Full-Time CEO, The Shit They Don't Tell You About. If you have not picked up either one of those books, trust me, you're doing yourself a disservice. But more importantly, I'm coming here to show you and give you some information about credit inquiries. See, I've actually been in the credit industry for a bit over 10 plus years. And in my journey, I noticed there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of misinformation, and just a lot of things that people really just don't have a grasp on the information. And trust me, it's not our fault. Think about it. Did you know we're not being taught credit in school? I mean, we may say, you know what, that is true. Or why would we want to learn about credit in school? Because by not learning about credit early, by the time we get out of school, whether you're going to college or just going right from high school and going to the real world, as they call it, your credit is going to impact every single decision and every single move you make. Try renting an apartment with no credit or bad credit. Try buying a house with no credit or bad credit. Try finding a job without having no credit or bad credit. It can be extremely difficult. And so we need to start understanding how credit works, the power of credit, how to leverage credit, all the things tied to credit. You know, I always say that there are several things that they should teach us in school, but 2 of the things that I really feel that they should teach us in school are credit and taxes. I mean, we got to use credit every single day of our lives. And until the day we die, we got to pay taxes. So understanding that these are the things that I personally think that we should learn more about. But more importantly, I'm here to talk to you about credit inquiries. See, people may not understand the effects or detriments or how credit inquiries can impact you. But first of all, let's understand the 2 types of credit inquiries that are out there. You have what are called soft credit inquiries, and then you have what are called hard. Now, a soft credit inquiry is anytime you go to get your credit pulled or you pull it yourself, meaning if you go and utilize a credit monitoring service, that is what's called a soft credit inquiry or a soft credit pull. Now, this is important to know because some people think by going to check their credit themselves is going to hurt or drop their credit score, and that is not the case. So I really want you to understand that you can pull your credit score 10 times every single day, 7 days a week, 24/7 if you want to, and it will never, ever, ever impact your credit score. Now, did you also know some banks, to find out if you are pre-qualified, depending on the type of lending you're trying to get access to, can run a soft credit inquiry or a soft credit pull? Now, it's really important to understand when you're going to a bank, it's okay to ask them these questions. But you will be surprised, some of the people in these financial institutions do not know the difference themselves. And so you want to make sure that you're asking them very explicitly, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Banker, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Lender, is it a soft credit pull or a hard? And if they don't know, well, I need you to go and find out, because it's really important to understand the difference, because credit inquiries can impact you depending on what your situation is. Now, we also have what are called hard credit inquiries. Now, a hard credit inquiry only impacts you when you're having your credit ran for the purpose to be extended credit, meaning you're applying for a credit card, you're applying for an auto loan, you're applying for a mortgage, or whatever it is you may be applying for, that could be a hard credit pull. Now, they have some myth out there that every credit pull drops your credit score 3 to 5 points, and that's not necessarily true. That only, your credit score drops depending on the magnitude of the credit pull. Meaning, did you know a denial credit inquiry can hurt you more than an approval because it's going to kind of outweigh itself. See, I always say that a credit profile is like a weighted scale. The more positive things you have, it can outweigh the few negatives. Now, the more negative things you have is going to outweigh the very few positives that you have. So getting a hard credit pull, but let's say you already have a strong credit profile, it will not hurt your credit score as much. Now, when it comes to credit pulls or a hard credit pull, there's some information out there where they say, hey, if you're going to apply for an auto loan or a home loan, If you have so many inquiries pulled within a 7-day window, it only counts as one credit pull. Now, that's partially true, meaning from a credit score standpoint, it's looked at as kind of like one credit pull. But if you go to an auto dealership, did you know they can run your credit anywhere between 7 to 15 times? So if you have challenged credit and you're going out there trying to apply for an auto loan, and let's say you go to 5 different dealerships and they pulled your credit, let's just say 10 times, that's 50 credit inquiries. That is a detriment to your credit score because that's going to hurt your credit profile tremendously and potentially hurt your score because most of the time, if you're having your credit ran that many times, usually they're going to be denials. So understand that the more denied credit inquiries you have is going to impact your score. Now, this also can hurt you when you're applying for credit cards. Now, if you have a challenged credit score, a challenged credit profile, you want to be careful by just going on what they call a credit card binge. And I've seen it happen often. Someone who is thinking they can get approved for a credit card, maybe they've gotten a pre-approval in the mail, but understand, a lot of times those pre-approvals that we may get in the mail, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're pre-approved or pre-qualified. What happens is a lot of times these credit card companies do like a mass mailing campaign. And what they do is that they've taken data from the census based upon what the average credit score is in that zip code. And so let's say the average credit score in that zip code was like a 700 and you're somewhere around like a 650. So they're going to send a mailing campaign to everybody within that zip code. You just so happen to fall in there. That doesn't necessarily mean that you qualified. And so because you assumed you qualified because you got that pre-qualification, now you just amass several hard credit inquiries. So you want to be very careful with that because a lot of times that's just marketing. Now, understand, having good credit with a bunch of inquiries can also hurt you. Because did you know, if you're trying to get access, let's say you're a small business owner and you're trying to get access to some revolving credit cards, meaning a business credit card or a business line of credit or whatever the case is, hard credit inquiries can impact you because did you know that banks deem more than 7 inquiries on your bureau, on all 3 of your credit bureaus over a 24-month period is considered excessive? And so with that being said, we have to be very careful making sure we keep our credit inquiries to a minimum. But needless to say, or no need to fear, did you know you can actually dispute credit inquiries? That's right. You can dispute them because if you don't, let's say you amassed those 50 credit inquiries because you went out trying to apply for an auto loan and over time, over the next, several months, you improved your credit, but those credit inquiries are still on there. And without understanding that you can dispute them, your credit inquiries will stay on your credit report for 25 months. That's right, 2 years, because it falls off on the 25th month of the month where you got it, your credit ran 2 years prior, or 25 months prior. But you definitely can go in and dispute your credit inquiries, be able to keep your credit profile clean so you can stay at that benchmark of 7 inquiries and below. And that 7 is combined between all 3 credit bureaus. That's not 7 per bureau. And so just understanding that the difference between a hard credit inquiry and a soft inquiry, remember, it does not hurt your credit score. You can pull your credit yourself as many times as you need to. It will not impact you. A hard credit inquiry, yes, it will impact you. Understanding that anytime you're applying for credit, a home, a mortgage, a credit card, you will incur a hard credit inquiry. Now, one thing in relation to credit cards and credit inquiries is something that I want people to know are what are called credit limit increases, or what some banks or institutions like to call CLIs. Now, did you know not all banks will do a hard credit inquiry when you're asking for a CLI? Some of them may just do a soft. Now, the downfall to that is that, let's say when you first apply for that credit card, you had a 650 credit score and you got approved for, let's just say, $1,000 credit limit. Let's say it's one of those second chance credit cards where, you're rebuilding your credit, all of that good stuff. Now, When you call in the bank asking for a credit limit increase or CLI, which is commonly referred to, if they do what's called a soft credit pull, what's going to happen is sometimes they're going to refer back and look back at your previous credit score. Because let's say it's 6 to 9 months later, and now you have a 720 credit score. So some banks, when they do a soft pull, they're going to go back and look at your original application. Even though your score has improved, they're going to go based off of the 650. So what you want to do sometimes is ask for a manual review, because then what they'll do is they'll go in and look at your updated credit score and updated credit profile, where you now have a 720, thus now giving you a better odds of getting that credit limit increase from 1,000 to whatever the increase is going to be or whatever you're going to qualify for. So just understanding how credit inquiries work when it comes to dealing with credit card companies. I know a lot of people don't understand that, having that hard credit inquiry could actually be helpful for you, because keep in mind, remember, we talked about a credit profile being like a weighted scale. Yes, you got a hard credit inquiry for that credit limit increase, but if you got an approval, it didn't impact you as much. Secondly, you got an increase giving you access to more revolving credit, which we know revolving credit, as long as you keep the balances down, it makes up 30% of our credit score. So again, the weight of the approval, the higher credit line, obviously is going to outweigh that one credit pull on your credit report. So sometimes we have to just pick the lesser of two evils. I'm always going to take the evil of getting the higher increase, because having access to more credit, again, just gives you access to more potential lifelines if need so. So again, the difference between, like I say, the hard and soft, hard inquiry only hurts you when you're being, for the purpose of being extended credit, you're going to get a hard inquiry. Soft means you're pulling your credit yourself. And trust me, no matter how many times you pull it, it will not impact your credit score. So hopefully you guys have learned, kind of the truths and how credit inquiries work. And so I strongly urge you, first, just go out there and pull and look at your credit report so you can even see what your credit inquiries look like, because I can assure you, if you have a ton of credit inquiries because you didn't know, more than likely it is impacting your overall credit profile. But no need to worry. You can always go and dispute your credit inquiries if that is the case. So again, family, my name is Will Roundtree. Make sure you click the link below to go and purchase either one of my books, Full-Time CEO, The Shit They Don't Tell You About, or Credit is King. And I'll see you guys at the top.